Rockstar gang, what up? What up? Appreciate everyone join the live stream. Welcome to the Rockstar Report. What do y'all? How y'all feeling today? Like, did you watch the press conference today? Because I certainly did. I was listening to it while I was working. So, I got to finish the press conference before coming on here. And then here we are. So again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream, and make sure you pound that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Was gonna be live at 12, but things just didn't work out today. So had to come a little bit later today, but that ain't too bad, right? So make sure you pound the like button as you're coming in. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And of course, it's your host as always, Clay Ropp, and welcome to the Rockstar Report if you're new here. If you're new here and you're into NFL content, Carolina Panthers content, well, this is the place for you. This is the place for you. So I got to start it off. The quote of the day: learn from yesterday, live from today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Albert Einstein. All right. So bringing you some positivity today. Also got a poll question up today, which we are going to discuss that poll question later on today. Is Dave Canales the best coaching hire of the 2024 offseason? So it's up there. And yeah, I mean, let's get right into it. All right. Let's bring it up. So let's recap. Did y'all watch? We're going to recap today's all the things of the mandatory minicamp that happened today. I did watch all the press conferences. Twitter, you can go on Twitter and you can look at all the things that they posted up. I mean, I've even got all those set up. Give me a second here. Yeah, if I go to my bookmarks, I bookmarked like everything that Joe Parsons and all those guys reported. So it's all on Twitter that you can get all the information to. But we're gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down for you. Raw Walk, is it Marcos Cash is in here? What's up, Panther Nation? Pound that like button on your way in or on your way out. Just do it. That's it. Raw Walk, what's up? Made it on time finally. No worries, no worries. How are you? Maserati Swift 713. Appreciate you joining. Booyah. All right, sir. We got people in here, so feel free to get in the comment section as we go through today. So the mandatory minicamp kicked off with some exhilarating plays. Some injury happened. Some much needed appearances also came about as this team gathered. And the mix of high energy drills, critical evaluation kind of set the stage of this mandatory minicamp narrative. First things first off, obviously there's still some hamstring issues with Xavier Legette. Obviously the first round wide receiver we got, a lot of high hopes. His hamstring injury continues to be the talk of the town. The wideout has been sidelined most of the OTAs. Canales remains optimistic. He said if this was game week, he'd be out there. So basically saying that he assured the media that they're just taking a cautious approach with him when it comes to the hamstring injury, the urgency of it. Training camp seems to be the target, I think, now. If we're looking at this whole thing as totality, Legette's probably going to be a full return at the Panthers training camp. Canales is confident he'll be ready to light up the field then. Unfortunate news, DJ Johnson, roller coaster ride, outside linebacker. Not so sure if you would say he had a promising career ahead of him, but he's hit another snag as he was carted off the field. What has appeared to be an ear injury during Tuesday's practice. He was battling injuries last season. His setback is a blow both to him and the team. We're obviously hoping. Canales came out and said that they're just hoping for the best, hinting at the cautious yet hopeful outlook. pending MRI results. I think that Joe Parsons also, I think Joe Parsons came out and said, was it Joe Parsons or David Newton? David Newton came out and said this, that edge rusher DJ Johnson, here, I'm going to share you real quick, just a quick update on that. DJ Johnson take there. It shows that Dave Canal said that the edge rusher DJ Johnson was carted off Tuesday today. Has a calf injury, is shut down the remaining mandatory minicamp. But it says that they expect Johnson back from full by training camp. So we were told that it was a knee injury, but now it seems to just be a calf injury. Just seems to be a calf injury, which is some good news. All right, which is some good news. So I'm glad to hear that. Glad it's just a calf injury. Glad to know that he'll be back full by training camp. So it wasn't anything too drastic, and it wasn't a knee injury. So all good things. There. Whether you're watching on Twitter, whether you're watching on YouTube, make sure you pound that like button. If you're on Twitter, make sure you come on over to YouTube and make sure you like and subscribe. We've got a total of 20 people watching. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to get in the comment section. Love to hear your thoughts as we go throughout today's episode. Appreciate everyone showing that love, being here. What's up, Landon? How are you? Appreciate you joining. Damn, I had DJ Johnson having a breakout year. He could now. I mean, it's just a calf injury. It's just a calf injury. Be back by training camp. Thanks to David Newton updating us on that, which is some good news. Good news around the league. Let's see what else I got for you. Oh, another news with the mandatory minicamp. Clowney reunion tour. Okay, he is still adamant about getting Stephon Gilmore. Let me see if I can find him at the stance quoting this, because I had it on here. Here it is. Yeah, here it is. If you haven't watched the press conferences, you should have. Can we get a third option on the poll, Shane? Shane, what third option would you like, my friend? Let's see if we can get another. Let's so.
You know you can play the game. You really don't worry about that part of that. So you just making sure you're ready when that phone rings and the right price is there for you. You feel right. So when that call you sign, you go out there, you cut on for what you do it for. That's how I take. So the last few years, I've been on 1-year deals, and everybody said you 1 foot in, 1 foot out the league, and I said I want to be in the league. So I'm on 1-year deals. You really gotta take control and take it one game at a time. Stop the training room from being hurt. You can't have no bad season, or it really be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You know how to lead it. One injury away, one play away from being out the league. So I just try to take full advantage of.
Shane, that's fair. That's fair.
Practice and have fun with it, because like I said, I'm on it.
Time will tell is a good third one.
How you stay patient is you know yourself.
So he came out basically saying that fresh off the voluntary workouts, he's on a mission, obviously both on and off the field, tackling drills, playbooks. Clowney is working his recruiting magic. Obviously, he's still trying to lure in, obviously former teammate in high school, but also former Gamecock Stephon Gilmore. And he came out and jokingly said it's all about the money. Yet but for me as one person, I can't help but sense the potential for a compelling reunion story. Like, I've been on here and saying that I don't believe Stephon Gilmore is coming, but Jadeveon Clowney is still alluding to this. Do I want Stephon Gilmore in this team? To me personally, I don't care either way, because here's the reason why. Yes, there's a positive side of it too, that we add depth to that position because we need it. We all know that we need cornerback help. All right. Due to the fact that our best corner is J.C. Horn. And if he goes down, we're stuck with Dane Jackson, Troy Hill, DiCaprio Boodle, Deshaun Jameson, Chow Smith Wade. And we are not so sure how those guys, just that group itself, those 5 guys, J.C. Horn goes down, how that's going to pan out. But again, even if we got him, as much as it adds depth to the roster, he's also 33 years old, who just came off surgery, who's also been contemplating retirement. So, to me, I get it. I like it, but I just don't think it's going to happen. But Clowney may know something. I don't. Obviously, Clowney's in talks with Stephon Gilmore, so he knows more than I know. But again, it is what it is. Another thing, Bryce Young. Apparently today showcase some promising. There was right here. For example, just what Dave Canales said right here. Dave Canales came out and said today was by far the best day for Bryce Young. Basically showcased both promising and the learning curve of the NFL in rapid succession. His touchdown pass to Deontay Johnson was high 11 on 11s. Really a testament to his growing command of this offense, but just as quickly, then linebacker Josie Jewell snagged an interception, running it back for a touchdown to close the practice out with a defensive exclamation point. So, and Canales was pretty optimistic about it. He's praising his overall progress and just said today by far was the best day. So, and he said by far the best day operating that offense. So, some good news. Nothing too crazy. Hey, Cornbread. Hope you're all doing all right. Yeah, I appreciate that, Cornbread. I hope you're doing well as well, my friend. Appreciate it. Some other news too in mandatory minicamp. Eddie Pinheiro, the elusive kicker, and it was finally in attendance today. He has been notably as an inactive lately. Pinheiro was present after missing all offseason workouts to pursue a new deal, but did not participate in kicking drills. Conditioning related. Canal speculated with Pinheiro's groin injury from last season lingering in the background. Meanwhile, Harrison Mavis, though, continued to kick, went 5 for 5 today and also hit a 57-yard bomb. So, I think the thicker kicker is going to take over. I really do. In other news, Austin Corbett. One of the day's standout moments came from Austin Corbett. Apparently, he looked every bit of a speeding locomotive in team drills today. After battling back from 2 serious knee injuries, Corbett's performance has been a sight for the coaching staffs and fans alike. And today, they said he looked great, which is good news. I mean, it's good to see or hear about him. Dry S. I don't know if he has. Pinheiro, sit your ass down. There's a new kicker in town. Exactly. But good news for Austin Corbett, man. He looks great out there. Looked good at team drills. Seems to be filling that center role nicely. Miles Sanders. Obviously, we're just talking about it. He came out and said that he's blessed to be here. Despite being cautious with a heel injury, expressed his gratitude. And encapsulating the spirit of this team. as they gear up for the season. We all know that I feel like I think Miles Sanders is under the hot seat. I think he's got to prove that he belongs here and he belongs still in the NFL after that disastrous season last year. But they wrapped up. So they wrapped up the first day of minicamp. A mixture of standout performances, some injury concerns, really just some strategic moves, kind of painted that vivid picture of this team's current state. We got another session tomorrow before a brief hiatus, and all eyes will be on recovery and readiness, particularly for key players like Leggett and DJ Johnson. Plus, you got training camp. That loom is large on the horizon. I mean, it's next 4 to 5 weeks we start training camp. So obviously some more stories will be developed. Obviously, some more news will come out tomorrow. Looks to so far so good, besides a couple injuries. And a couple guys that are still sidelined that are dealing with some injuries, like DJ Wanham still handling that as well. So, and of course, Jonathan Brooks with the ACL, and then of course the Leggett thing. So, but yeah, I mean, Harrison Mavis was 5 for 5 and capped a 57-yard field goal to end the team drill. So that's crazy. And then the whole Michael K came out and said that was the thing about right here. See, Michael K came out and said Harrison Mavis 5 for 5, capped 57 yards in the team drill. And then Austin Corbett just got out in space on team drills and looked like a speeding locomotive. So after 2 serious knee injuries, he still looks fast, apparently, for Michael K. So a lot of good news. It sounds like, we've got some injury concerns, but then we've got some, not so much injury concerns, just more precaution. So all good news here. Eddie accounted for probably like 60% of our points. Is there a chance we keep 4 or 5 running backs in the active roster throughout the season with the way Dave talks about this offense? I think it's going to be 4. I don't see 5. I think 4. You should drop the C from. Oh, wow. Broski Bear. That's a hell of a statement. That's a hell of a statement. How long did that take you to come up with that? Did it take you like all last night while you're laying in bed or what? Damn right. He's blessed to be here. He knows he should have been cut or traded for sure. And he still might be. Panthers lost their best edge, best middle, linebacker, best corner. You have a Keebler elf playing quarterback. Panthers are 3 of 5 win team. Broski Bear is just a negative Nancy today. Broski Bear is just a negative Nancy. It's all good. As much as I love Luvu, he's not better than Shaq. Like, laugh my ass off. Interesting. I think you could definitely make an argument on that. Definitely can make an argument on that. So, Carolina Panthers fans, what is your 2024 wish list? Like, what is the 3 things or 4 or a couple things that you want to see out of this 2024 season for the Carolina Panthers? Right? Like, I think that because we have been a long-suffering bunch, right, of fans, especially after last season's debacle, and we're craving for that turnaround. We get a new coach, right? But what are some things that you desperately want to see this year to kind of to restore your faith a little bit with this team, right? Because for me, and I'm going to give you mine, I need to see more fight, right, from this team, right? We can talk about all the mandatory minicamp news, but if we're talking about what we want to see this season, I need to see this team fight. I need to see more fight from this team. Like, Dan Morgan has this warrior spirit from his playing days, made it clear during his introductory press conference. He wants that logo to strike fear in the hearts of the opponents. Last season, that was more like a gentle breeze than a than a fierce storm, right? Lackluster performance, right? Just a huge letdown, right? And I think it left a lot of us fans more delusional than ever, right? Because the Panthers could barely muster a whimper, let alone a roar. Okay. Confidence was dwindled. The team ended with a dismal 2-win season. It was a season where the effort seemed there, but the fight was just missing. And I think a lot of us fans drifted away, and you should see that from the attendance in the stands, right? So it's all about restoring that pride, which is that another message that Morgan is simply, it's time to bring back that fight. And I think that a lot of fans don't expect a perfect season, but they do want to see a team that embodies that grit, that determination, that resilience, the traits in Dan Morgan himself displayed as a player. So if the Panthers can reignite that spark, show some true fighting spirit, I think it'll be good enough to get the Panthers fan back outside, roar and fill in that stand. Another thing that I need to see though is I want to see this team be fundamentally football sound. Learn from those past mistakes, right? Frank Reich's time as the head coach was sloppy execution, incoherent game plans, right? The only bright spot was our defense, right? The offense often looked like a disorganized mess. And I think that Dave Canales is trying to aim to change that narrative by focusing on really the fundamentals, which is much needed. I think sometimes you have to go back to the basics, right? Because sometimes that can be the just what the doctor ordered. All right. Instead of just trying to fix everything at once. And I think another thing is Canales is prioritizing the basics, right? And he wants those players to know their roles inside and out and receive coaching that reflects the modern football methods, right? It's a return to simplicity with a twist of sophistication. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. But that's like two of the things I'm asking for. I think another thing is you're trying to build a new foundation here, right? You want that the Carolina Panthers' current state may look like a rebuilding project to outsiders, but Canales still believes and sees this as an opportunity. And he believes that if the Panthers can master these fundamentals, I guess you could say, they can surprise everyone, right? However, we all have the right to be skeptical, right? We've been burned by big promises, by big promises, by big promises, right? So if Canales can back up his words with action, I think it'll signal a significant shift in the right direction. Now, here's the thing that I think that I wouldn't necessarily, well, I can't say that. I would say the next thing, though, for me is that I want to see more wins. Now, does that mean that I expect this team to win 8, 9, 10, 11 games? No. At the end of the day, I need to see them win more games. It's the ultimate test for any NFL team. So for the Panthers, it's the path to redemption, right? This franchise has been a mess since David Tepper took over, right? With the broken promises, shattered dreams, courtesy of Matt Rule, Frank Wright. Last season's 2-win horror show was just the icing on the cake. It was a season so bad it left, I think, a permanent scar on this franchise. Now, there's this whole new era, right, under Dave Canales, who has relatively lowered that bar to clear in his first season. So improving on last year's record should be achievable. But how much improvement is realistic remains to be seen, right? The national media is largely pessimistic, predicting another rough year with the Panthers. Broski Bear in the chat feels the same way. Potentially bottoming out again, right? But Canales and I think some other fans have a different script in mind. For me, I think it's learning how to have patience for progress, right? I think it's about having patience for progress. Tepper is notoriously known for what? Being impatient. So that needs to allow Canales and general manager Dan Morgan time to implement their long-term plan, right? There's been a lot of knee-jerk reactions, impatience, have no place in this world when it comes to a rebuild. So if Tepper can't resist the urge to meddle and let the football minds do the job, the Panthers have a shot. If he can what I meant was to say not can't, but if Tepper can resist, if Tepper can resist the urge to not meddle and let the football minds do their job, I think they have a chance to actually have steady improvement. Now, we all need to manage our expectations. I've seen a lot of Panthers fans out there who are predicting 10, 11 wins. You need to keep your expectations low. That is I think you need to keep, everybody should. I've been telling you, it's better you keep your expectations low so you're not disappointed in the end. The Panthers, and that could be a secret weapon for this team, honestly. With the pressure dialed down, Canales can experiment and build a team that's capable of competing in the future. That's the real test. That's when the real test will come. When this team starts showing signs of contention, and that's when the pressure will truly mount. Because inspiring the faithful is what needs to be redone. Panther fans want to be inspired after nearly a decade of mediocrity. They want to believe it's something special again. That's what it is. The 2024 season is a pivotal one for this team. If they can display the fight, focus on the fundamentals, notch up a few more wins, it's a mark into a positive step forward in restoring the pride and passion that fans have longed for. That's the way I'm looking at it. I don't know what y'all's wish list is. My wish list is to see, more wins, fight, more fundamentally sound football. That's it. A progress, a step in the right direction. That's all I'm asking for. I don't know about you guys. This was interesting the other day. I was reading an article, and the new kickoff rule. So this is the reason why I brought this topic up today. The new kickoff rule has me kind of thinking, and I think it's got a lot of NFL coaches thinking, honestly. And it's kind of making a lot of people think outside the box, because Dave Canales has this idea that I've heard when it comes to this kickoff discussion, right? But does Dave Canales have the personnel to go unconventional? That's the thing. Because again, the new kickoff rule is going to be a huge game changer in the NFL. It is shaking things up this season with a completely revamped kickoff rule. Gone are the days when the kickoff team came charging down the field from the opposite 35-yard line like a herd of buffalo. Now, they'll line up at the 40-yard line on the same end of the field where the ball is being kicked to just 20 yards for the landing zone where it must be played. So the new rule is designed to encourage kick returns and penalize teams that simply boot the ball through the back of the end zone. So touchbacks will bring the ball out to the 30-yard line, and a 5-yard bump from the previous rule. So this is a shift that's causing coaches to rethink their kickoff strategy, right? And most of them are in the position is whether to use a traditional kicker or a positional player to handle kickoffs. Because positional players as kickers could be a bold strategy, right? With the new alignment, there's more significant opportunity for big returns. Once a returner breaks that past initial wave of defenders, the only thing standing between him and the end zone is the kicker. And a scenario that doesn't inspire confidence. And some teams are toying with the idea of using a position player to kick off, ensuring that there's still a formidable tackler on the field if the returner finds a seam. So it's kind of interesting to think about now that this, with this whole new kickoff rule, right? Because Dave Canales was asked, I think earlier this past week or this week, something like that, about his thoughts on the unconventional strategy, and his response was a mix of practicality and a little bit of humor. Basically, he said, until we find somebody who could control the ball with his foot, I don't know if we have that player right now. So we're just focusing on Harrison Mavis going out there to place it where he needs to. Now, obviously, he's alluding to the undrafted free agent kicker that's soon to probably take over Eddie Piñeiro's job. Translation to that quote is, unless a linebacker suddenly discovers a hidden talent for precision kicking, the Panthers are sticking with their kicker. Now, we have this whole kicking controversy. You got Mavis and Piñeiro. The Panthers have more than just kickoff strategies to figure out. They also need to settle on a kicker for field goals, whether it's veteran Eddie Piñeiro, because he just arrived today at mandatory minicamps, and he hasn't been there at all to the other camps, and due to the fact that he's looking for another contract. But leaving now, then you leave Harrison Mavis to take all the reps and potentially win the job by default, which is fine by me because it sounds like he's got the better leg anyways. And Piñeiro's entering his final year of his contract with the new team, special teams coordinator on staff. The Panthers might be ready to part ways with him. And the guy's holding out for a contract. Why not? Move on. Because it sounds like Harrison Mavis is doing just fine. 5 for 5 in today's mandatory minicamp, had a 57-yarder. I don't even know if Eddie Piñeiro could kick a 57-yarder. I think if I remember correctly, it was against the Atlanta game, and they tried to go for it on 4th and whatever it was instead of kicking a field goal because Eddie Piñeiro doesn't have the leg. I think it was the Atlanta game when was Steve Wilkes the coach then still? I think it was, but I could be wrong. Anyways, minicamp showdown. That's coming up, or that came up today. So we already talked about that. But again, when it comes to this kickoff approach, it's going to be interesting on how they navigate this whole kickoff landscape. I think a lot of people don't talk about that. It's the same thing like I've talked about the hip drop tackle rule. I think that's a lot of people don't talk about that. You got to, when you look at these big tight ends, big wide receivers, big bruiser running backs, it's going to be interesting how that works out with that hip drop tackle rule. So again, but I'm interested to see what they do with this new kickoff rule and how they approach it going forward. So, but it was just a topic I thought was pretty interesting. So, how do you guys think that this running back room's going to shake out? To me, You've got the starter, the number 2 guy, the short yardage back. So the Panthers running back room is more crowded than a Black Friday sale at Best Buy. Let's be honest, okay? You got the additions of Jonathan Brooks. You got Rashad Penny. You got 5 running backs that they feel good about heading into the 2024 season. Dave Canales has repeatedly emphasized his intent to run the ball and to commit to it. You need a full stable. Now that he's got the horses, how does he go about deploying them? Well, Chuba Hubbard, I think his projected role is going to be a split starter. Again, I don't think he's just going to be that main guy. Many expect him to stroll into the season as the unquestioned starter. But I would tell a lot of you to hold your horses, literally, because Dave Canales gives off that vibe of a coach going into this thing with an open mind, wiping this slate clean from a year ago. And Hubbard can undoubtedly win the job, but he hasn't been earned just yet. He hasn't earned that job just yet, right? And then if I had to look at it, you got Miles Sanders, right? I think another guy, split starter. The reason why I still think Miles Sanders is going to be a split starter with Hubbard is because he carries the 8th largest cap hit on this roster. His roles aren't determined by I know that roles aren't determined by your paycheck, but when you're paying a running back that much money, you need to give the guy every opportunity to redeem himself. In his defense, I will say this: the offensive line was a mess in 2023, so leaving him little room to maneuver. But I think of him as a high-priced veteran who's still got a lot to prove. When it comes to Jonathan Brooks, I think he's a rotational guy, but eventually he'll be the starter because he's coming back from an ACL tear, which is likely trying to, when you tear your ACL, it's like trying to run a marathon with a boulder strapped to your leg. It's going to take time for him to get back to 100%, both physically and mentally. This is a room full of veterans. Canales will likely ease him in, but once he gains confidence in his knee and in his understanding of the offense, he might just take over the running back 1 role. For now, he's the promising rookie, kind of just biding his time. When we look at Rashad Penny, short yardage goal line guy. That's why I look at him. Penny has dealt with more injuries than a demolished derby driver, okay? And I'm just being honest here. You preventing him from a top-tier back, becoming a top-tier back, but when he is healthy, he's more productive than a caffeine-fueled beaver, all right? Because in season where he's played 10 or more games, Penny has averaged around 4.9, 5.7, and 6.3 yards per carry. So his 220-pound ass is something that we didn't have last year, and he can help them move the chains in short yardage situations. And then, of course, last but not least, Raheem Blackshear. He's that Swiss Army knife kind of guy, but he's going to be a kick returner, depth back. All right, you never know that you would need him, right? Personally, I've been sold on his potential as a rotational back. I think he's someone that can give you a carry or two every now and then, but he's not a guy that's just going to go out there and carve out some defense, right? He's not going to carve out some substantial role in the backfield, right? In his 37 career rushing attempts, he's averaged just around 3.3 yards per carry. However, I will say this: he adds a value as a returner, averaging 27 yards per return. Think of him as that special teams ace who could step in when needed. I think the big picture here with this whole running back room, and I think a lot of people aren't talking about, is the fact that Dave Canales has a smorgasbord of running back options, and each have their own strengths and quirks. The real challenge here is going to be how he mixes and matches these pieces to create that cohesive and effective ground game going forward. Because will it be a veteran like Miles Sanders? Or is it going to be Chuba Hubbard? Is he going to be is Chuba Hubbard that next rising star? Are those two going to be sharing the load? Can Jonathan Brooks overcome this injury, and take that lead role? Or will Rashad Penny stay healthy long enough to bulldoze and be that short yardage guy that we're looking for? Or can Raheem Blackshear make his mark as a special teams guy and provide just some depth in the backfield? It's an interesting puzzle that I look forward to seeing and how it pans out. Yeah, I mean, Shane, you can get away from Miles Sanders' contract now since it's past the June 1st cut designation line. You would have to trade him, though, to get the most amount back. Marco, sometimes I have him. Sometimes I have him. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have them, sometimes I don't. 36 people watching. Whether you're watching on Twitter, thank you for showing your support there. But if you're watching on Twitter, the best way you can show your support to me is please come on over to the YouTube channel. The link is in my bio on my Twitter. And I also posted the video link today to the YouTube channel. So if you click that link, it's posted up on there, and it'll take you right to my channels. And that's the best way you can show your support. So I greatly appreciate it. All right. This was something I wanted to bring up to you guys today. And it's how good are Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis as a duo? How good are they? Because apparently as of right now, right, that we have two guards that are ranked among the best in the league for obviously good reasons. At least I've been, a lot of people have been, I've been told, right? So here's the thing. If the Carolina Panthers GM Dan Morgan had a magic wand just to fix just one thing this offseason, it would have been the offensive line. No doubt. Last season, Bryce Young spent more time on his back than a turtle flipped upside down. Getting sacked a whopping of 62 times as a rookie. Remarkably, Young emerged without a serious injury, but the need for change was clear and it was urgent, right? So the solution that they came up with was he didn't just wave a wand. He wielded a sledgehammer. He reshaped the interior offensive line by signing veterans Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis to multi-year deals. Now, according to the Pro Football Focus, this duo ranks among the best interior tandems in the NFL, with both sitting comfortably on the inside of the top 30. Right? Robert Hunt, again, number 10. He's like I feel like Robert Hunt's like, when I watch this game film, he's like a Swiss Army knife of guards. Versatile, reliable, seemingly he's just able to do everything except make your morning coffee for you, right? His low pressure rate is a testament to his skill set. He's got a hefty new contract. He's clearly seen as a cornerstone for the Panthers offensive line. When you look at Damian Lewis, he got ranked 29th on that list. Meanwhile, he's a reliable workhorse, clocking in consistently solid performances. His overall grade last year wasn't stellar, but his pass blocking grade was actually commendable. I will say that. So I would think of him as more as that dependable sedan, right? That more dependable sedan in the world of flashy sports cars, right? May not be the flashiest, right? Not the sexiest, but it gets the job done. I guess you could say like a Honda Civic, maybe, right? Right? The dependable sedan, right? So, or maybe a Toyota Camry. Maybe that's a better one. But you get what I'm getting at. But the X factor of this offensive line is Austin Corbett. Here's the reason why. Because I didn't put him up there, but because we were talking about this, but there is this little X factor of the guy in the middle. Your center position is very, very important. Guard spots seemed, locked and loaded, right? But there's still that looming question over Austin Corbett's transition to center. Corbett's has played the position before. It's been a while since he's been a regular there. Plus, the back-to-back season-ending injuries are enough to give anyone pause. Should Corbett stay healthy and make a seamless transition to center, Bryce Young could finally have a nice kind of pocket protection that allows him to do what he does best, and that's light up the scoreboard, right? That's what we want to see. We want to see him do those things, right? But the Panthers have not added a true veteran backup center to Corbett's health and performance are crucial. Now, again, yes, good news today. He looked great. But the thing is if everything goes according to plan, this offensive line will be less like a it will be more like a fortress, right? Hunt and Lewis with Corbett at center could turn one of the worst glaring weaknesses I've ever seen into a formidable offensive line. But to me, this season promises to be, I think, an interesting one for Carolina. They have to look to protect Bryce Young and give him the time he needs to make the magic happen. But I need to see even if after what I heard from about Corbett today, I need to see it on the field. But I'm excited for Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt. I think they're going to be great. What's good, Clay? Health will be key for the offensive line to gel together. Exactly, Ropp. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I can't agree more. All right, let's move on. It's fixing Bryce Young's flaws. It's not a good it's not a fun conversation I want to talk about, but Bryce Young's turnaround story is as compelling as it gets. This guy's he's obviously been written off by some after a turbulent rookie season. The quarterback is now finding his footing thanks to a coaching staff that's competent enough to do so. And it's back to the basics approach, which I love. But we're not just rebuilding we're not just rebuilding the team. They're meticulously restructuring Bryce Young piece by piece based off how Dave Canales is coaching him up, right? He basically has a fresh start with proven mentors, right? We thought we had the Avengers last year, but they brought in Dave Canales. They weren't just looking for a leader. They were searching for a guy for a quarterback whisperer. Canales has been known to rejuvenate guys' careers like Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield. And he's the man that's charged with reviving Bryce Young. Now, the stakes are much higher here because you got an owner with David Tepper and Dan Morgan who are betting big on him to replicate his past successes. So the philosophy is straightforward, though. Focus on daily improvement rather than getting lost in long-term projections. Like, this step-by-step approach seems to be what's going to work, I think. Because here's the thing. Young and his teammates are already showing signs of progress. Now, I know this is just through mandatory minicamp. and OTAs and all that stuff, right? But they're embracing this methodological pace and clear directives of the new head coach, right? Um, they're stripping things down to the basics for Young, right? Um, the emphasis on quick releases, which I've been asking for, right? Quick game, right? If you don't know what quick game is, look it up. All right. I've been on my show here vocal about what quick game is. Basically, it's get the ball out quick. It moves the ball forward. I could go into a huge deep dive into that, but then they're also building the technique from the ground up, right? Working on his footwork, which is great because we noticed Bryce Young last year on his tippy toes. I think Bryce Young's IQ is good. I think it's good enough to be able to read defenses. But I think he was also too scared to audible certain times in games when I noticed he should have. Because the reason why I say he was scared is because the Frank Wright and the Thomas Brown was they didn't provide him with the necessary support. And the current staff's clarity and consistency are setting him up for more success than what Frank Wright did. But Canales and Carroll, right? They are focused on quick decision making, getting the ball out, or making a move within the 2.7 seconds. So that requires processing rapidly. But that's a challenge that Bryce Young has to tackle, right? And I think he's ready to tackle, but provide the offensive line, provided that hopefully that the offensive line holds strong, right? That's where the critical factor comes in, is the offensive line, right? Right. The Panthers, they've bolstered up this offensive line, right? We just talked about Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt, right? And then we got Corbett transitioning center. We're not too sure how that's going to work out. It does, and that move kind of has raised a lot of people's eyebrows. But then you got left tackle, you got Ike Ekwonu, right? Underwhelming sophomore season last year. Adds another layer of uncertainty there. The offensive line performance is going to be pivotal no matter what, right? Especially in Young's progress. It's directly tied to their ability to protect him. However, Young has to focus, remains on himself, right? He has to get better, fix his flaws from his game, and that's a top priority for him. He's got to trust and confidence. He's got to show trust and confidence in Dave Canales, and Canales and Carroll are instilling in him. What they're instilling in him is invaluable, right? This foundational work will be crucial as this season unfolds. But this approach, I think, is the right approach, right? I think that with the right coaching that they're giving him, they're simplifying things. The focused approach that he should have got last year, there's a real chance that he could silence critics. And if he doesn't, well, then he doesn't, right? It's on him. But we will hope that he does, because he is going to be the guy that even gives us a chance to become respectable again. So all eyes are on Bryce Young. His ability to translate these lessons into the field, on field success is crucial. But it also does come down to the fact that the offensive line has to be able to hold up. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to me to see how this offensive line holds up as long as this offensive line stays healthy. As long as this offensive line stays healthy, I think Bryce can fix his flaws and the confidence issues. All right. This is another one for you. Will Dave Canales end up being the right hire? Will he end up being the right hire? Will he end up being the right guy for here? Because here's the thing. In every dramatic world of the NFL, coaching hires, the Carolina Panthers may have just struck gold with Dave Canales, right? And they could have. I'm just saying they could have, right? We don't know yet, okay? I like what I see from Dave Canales. I like what I hear, but we don't know for sure, right? He's young. It seems like he has a brilliant mind. He's a meticulously organized head coach. He has been basically a breath of fresh air, I would say, for our franchise that's been gasping for some leadership since Ron Rivera left back in 2019. He brings this energy, detailed approach to this team, and those are qualities that I felt like we've missed in recent years. Now, since the Rivera exit, we have been at a drift, lacking that clear direction of strong leadership that Canales now seems to be delivering. His partnership with Dan Morgan is a harmonious alignment that hasn't been seen in Carolina for quite some time. And together they have a clear vision, right, for what this team's future, right? They actually have a strategy, a roadmap that wants to inspire confidence and optimism among these players and fans, right? So here's the thing. So if you think about it this way, how does Dave Canales stack up against the other marquee coaches hires of the 2024 offseason, right? Harbaugh, right, is probably the right answer here. Okay. But I can't make a case on that because but I can't make a case on that, right? Because here's the thing. For the 2-for-1 coaching special, like the Carolina Panthers put off this offseason, if you think about it, Dave Canales as the head coach, right? And then retaining Ejiro Evero, right? The fact that Canales and Tepper convinced him to stay speaks volumes about their vision here. So that whole continuity is crucial for this team and this defense, right? The outside of the standout defensive tackle Derek Brown is in a desperate need of stability and guidance, right? So here's the thing. Canales already isn't just about defensive stability. It's about rejuvenating this offense, right? We're just talking about it, particularly Bryce Young, right? Right? And we just talk about how Canales has that proven track record, right? But if you go look at the contenders, those guys are the contenders, right? You got Harbaugh and McDonald. Now, of course, acknowledging Canales' potential doesn't diminish the accomplishments of the other hires. Harbaugh, with his proven NFL track record, he's a safe bet for success. His past achievements and ability to turn teams around make him a top-tier hire, for sure. Similarly to Mike McDonald with his defensive, prowess, right? Rounds out the trio of transformative coaching hires this offseason. So, is Dave Canales the best coaching hire of the 2024 offseason? It's tough to definitely rank them for me because if you think about it, Canales undoubtedly stands among the top contenders, I think, just because of his dynamic approach. Obviously, the strategic partnership with Dan Morgan, being able to bring in this new life into both players and the franchise, position him as a potential transformative figure in Carolina. That's what people aren't realizing is as to who he is as a I guess like I said, the transformative figure. But I think Harbaugh would have that edge because he's proven success. Canales kind of represents a blend of potential and immediate impact that is hard to ignore. I mean, if he can steer Bryce Young and the Panthers get back on track, Canales could very well be the name on everyone's lips as the coaching steal of the offseason. But I would still say the hire of the 2024 season was probably Jim Harbaugh. Definitely. But I'm not taking anything away from Dave Canales. So nice. 28 of you said is coach is Dave Canales. So 28%, 28 of you. So we got 79% on the poll today. So interesting. Well, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you pound that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Become a member today. That's also the best way you can show your support to the channel. If you're watching on Twitter, please come on over to the YouTube channel. That's the best way you can show your support to me. And that's where I post the most. I also post a lot on TikTok, so you can follow me on there. Up above is all my social media, so you can follow me there. But if you're on Twitter, click the link in my bio. It'll take you right over to the YouTube channel. And that's the best way you can show your support. Guys, appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Thank you so much. I'll be live tomorrow, but I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for all the love and support. Continue to pound that like button and subscribe. That's all I ask. But as always, guys, I'll be back live tomorrow to give you some more breakdown of the minicamp. And as always, guys, love you. Be safe. And as always, keep pounding. Peace.